Well, it's Carnival of Randomness. We are finally back in. I don't know if we have anything to talk about because we ended up talking too much before we started recording. So
we have a nice new intro.
That was cool. We have a nice new intro. But what can I say? Basically, maybe nobody knows, but we had this thing called COVID happen. And we tried to have episodes. Well, no, you know it does. It's a government conspiracy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that.
From outer space.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. They're vaccinating to control you and put chips in you.
Well, duh. Yeah.
I grew horns from that vaccination.
Yep.
It's not real.
I like pie.
I like right there.
Greg,
so this is, of
Greg
course,
with a hot take.
Then, of course, is Greg and our occasional expert on whatever shit he knows in our behind-the-scenes guy, Patrick. And I'm Rob, obviously. But what happened was, when this stuff hit, I was talking to our studio maestro, and this was back when it hit, we obviously closed everything down. We tried to start back up, and then guess what? It got worse again. Mm-hmm. So really, the last Carnival was Adriana and Chuck and Greg, and I'm going to say October or November.
Yep.
Because Adriana had a gig around Thanksgiving, and she canceled, and there was like Adriana being Adriana was like, this is way more important.
But the room still smells the same, which is nice. It's comforting.
Yeah.
Yes. Except for that one guest who blew the fart next to me that I'll never forget that one time, and I had to be a pro, and I won't even say who it was. Nobody here.
No, yeah.
So we're back, and hopefully, I've gotten some messages and stuff that I really appreciate. People dug the show, and we have some new format. We have a new design by the great Ellison Cote. I should see her husband Alex next month if all goes well. And I don't know if there was any other carnivals out there. They were like the killer clowns from outer space. They weren't us. So this is the legit carnival.
Well, I think you should get more credit, Rob, than you do. I mean, you put so much work into this, and you're the man behind the scenes. So,
but the thing is, intro episodes suck. So of course, what we did, we had Billy McKee on last week because we figured, what is that, like Firefly? They did the pilot.
Yeah. Fox and their infinite wisdom decided that they'd put the train heist episode before the pilot, and the pilot explained what was going on. But the train heist episode had a train heist, which was a really cool.
So this
heist,
is actually the intro that we're back. But you heard the episode with Billy last week because he's more interesting. Because I have the idea, Mel Brooks silent movie, big stars, have people who you actually care about hearing instead of me. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about whatever we can think about for a little while. But Greg, you had one. We have to get this one in. Watching film credits.
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, partially it's
drummers
because
get bored when they don't have gigs.
That's right. Well, partially, it's always it's always amazing to me, like when you watch old movies, like 30s and 40s, a relatively short list.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's usually probably just the supervisors of each department or whatever, but not the other. But as you look now, it's like waves upon waves of gaffers and things.
VFX.
But, I was watching this, one of the Roku channels. I was surfing around and I found this, and it was something about a murder, and it was like strippers and murder. So I'm like, okay. And then, and I'm like, okay.
Well, that appeals to me.
Clicks both boxes. Both boxes.
Strippers, murders, and chocolate eclairs. I'm in.
I'll give this one a shot, and I honestly can't remember the name of it. But it had some really good music. It was like a lot of this good rock music from some band. I mean, the songs were good. They weren't cheesy songs or anything. And it was a fairly decent movie. It was just about this detective was trying to figure out who was killing these strippers at a bar. And there was some good dancing. But anyway. So, it was just enough. It was just enough TNA that make it.
I think you sent me. I think you sent me the clip of this, and I looked at it. I didn't see your name. Yeah. He's like, "Who's sending me porn spam again?"
But I read the credits, and as the credits were rolling, I was looking, and all these names were being from the old Superman show, the 50s show.
Really?
Yeah, they had like I wish I could remember.
Jack Larson.
Well, no, but they had
names?
like some villains, and they had like names of like some of the villains. Yeah,
the characters' names were names.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, these people don't want to be associated with this. Number one. Number two, it's like tongue in cheek. Is anybody really reading this? Type of thing.
They should have had that same doofus guy who played a bad guy in like almost every Superman episode under a different name.
Yeah.
But they used all these references to that show. And I was like, first I thought that's an odd show to pick.
Yeah.
And it was just
one that
if
sticks
I can
out,
remember, I'll have to.
This is
find
not
it
a
again and
credit,
write
but
them
it's the title. It's the Clyde Bruckman episode of X-Files. I think I was the only one who knew Clyde Bruckman produced the Three Stooges. If you look at any Three Stooges shorts, it says Clyde Bruckman.
Right.
Don't tell me they didn't know this.
Right.
Oh no, that's absolutely what they were. Yeah.
But the other one
There were
was
some goofy writers
I
on that
remember
show.
like
That
it
was
was. I
great.
think it was Airplane. I'm 90% sure it was Airplane. It might have been in L. Brooks, where they, if you watch the credits, it said for best boy Adolf Hitler.
That could have been a Mel Brooks movie.
It
I think it was Airplane though. I'm
Was it
pretty sure.
Zucker's? Well, this is Zucker's. Yeah.
I think it might have had like, what's his name? Inspector Henderson, whatever his first name was, and then they had a couple of the villains and a couple. It just blew my mind. I was just like, this is funny as shit.
You know what I
because
think
knew
too
you'd
is
be
a lot of
watching
people.
it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think a lot of people obviously they grew up as fans of this stuff, and they like it's like that little. I used to love like for the Bug Jar. For the Halloween shows, sometimes like some of my friends' bands, they would dress up, but it would be one of those costumes. We're not like obviously like the general public would know something, but like the one time the Quitters all dressed up is from The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and some
God.
people are like, "What are these guys, sailors?" And I'm good. That's Hans. That's Hans. I love like I'll admit like. If you ever like now in terms of directors, anything Wes Anderson puts out, I love.
Most of his.
Well,
I, mean, a couple
I
ones
don't like
that- some-
Darjeeling. That's the one I can't get through.
That was tough. Yeah, that one. I think. Yeah.
But the one that got me, but this is how analogies go. So I'm up one night, and it just there's a bunch of them showing Oscar movies on TCM, and I haven't seen Little Romance in a while, so I thought I'd watch it.
Yeah.
So I watch it. I'm going, wait a second. That's like, okay, that's how they got Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's almost the same
I'm
sort
not
of plot.
familiar with that movie, so I don't know.
The moon rises over a kingdom. Done. See you later.
okay. There you go.
But I love Grand Budapest Hotel. And I
Yeah,
love it
That
every time.
I think everybody is dialed up to 11 in that movie, and it's fun.
It's-
That's fun.
Don't touch my cabin boy. He's a pig. Don't touch my paid intern.
I got Knives Out as a present.
Make sure you bring this bottle of wine so we don't drink the piss water on the train.
Well, we go back to the Darjeeling. I think
I
the
can't get
biggest.
through. I've never gotten through all the way.
Well, the biggest problem I have with it is just like in the very first thing you see is Bill Murray, and you're like, "Oh, cool, Bill Murray's," and then he's never seen him again for the rest of the movie. I'm like, "There you go. This tells you everything you need to know."
Well, some arty movies are just too arty to.
Yeah.
to
I've had
watch.
now for me, I've mentioned this with Billy a little bit, but I really love The Dead Don't Die. And see, now I thought
I
it was
didn't until I really figured out what it was.
It was very self-referential.
Yes.
I think Jarmusch, what he did was, and Jarmusch is hit and miss with me, and again, we just have our tastes. I think he thought, okay, we've done everything we can with zombie movies.
Yes.
So why don't we just have a little have a little fun, look in the camera.
Yeah, that was-
do,
that
like
was
the
his-
line. I think people either liked or were bothered by the line. By Screw It by Now was out a couple of years ago, where Driver and Murray are in the car and they're going, well, why do you keep saying it ends badly? I read the script.
It's like Jim. It's like Jim had me over for dinner. He had you over for dinner? When did he have you
I've
over
done
for dinner?
so much for that asshole.
I've lived for that guy.
But then they have the thing with the UFOs
That
and
killed
the
me.
script.
That killed me.
And then
that part killed
what
me.
was her name? Zelda
Tilda-
Winston or something?
Tilda Swinton?
Tilda Swinton, but Zelda
Winston, yeah.
And I love the character just like, well, you in the attractive, just the way she acts.
Well, I think they're doing more of that more as you go along. Like Supernatural did a couple of those where they were actually in a show about
the meta
themselves.
episodes. Yeah.
And they were in a supernatural show.
At that
and
point, there was like season 12 or something.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're running out of shit to do.
Well, now
Scooby-Doo
I know
thing.
you've seen it. I know it sucks. I haven't seen it, but the Snyder
Snyder
cut.
I mean,
I liked it.
we could do a whole thing.
Well, you could talk about it, but I'm
I could
actually
talk
going to.
about-
I'm too
yeah.
cheap. I'm going to get it on DVD when it comes out.
You want my passwords? I give them to you.
Hey,
Well, this is recorded, man.
well, great. Cops.
Not
What is your- that's not
Disney
Greg,
Plus,
this
though.
is
Not
somebody
Disney
else
Plus.
here.
Relax.
No, we're just joking around. That's what we do
Yeah.
on here.
I
but-
wouldn't do
But
that.
what are your opinions? I know you've given some. I know everybody who's seen it's really liked it.
I liked it because it fills in a lot of holes, and I think it makes more sense, and it's darker, and I think he overuses the slow motion, but other than that, I like all
That's
his
his style,
concepts.
though.
Yeah.
But that's so what? It was styled is a thing that's.
Well, I remember a review of mine.
crappy.
One of my
That's-
friends asked me, "Have
your
you seen
style's
Sucker?"
crappy.
One of my friends said, "Have you seen Sucker Punch?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You're my sympathy."
Yeah, I have that. It was okay.
That
it
movie
was
I forgot the whole. I can't remember.
It's 100%. It's 100% what it's not supposed to be. The whole thing was just like, oh well, we this,
Tough
they were
ass
like,
chick,
it was
yeah.
it was supposed to be a feminist movie,
Yeah.
where they had these women, taking back their power, but they were all dressed up in lingerie, and it was all just like it was over sexualized, and people were like, that's completely the wrong way to.
I
do
just
that.
got hate speech on
Ultraviolet was
freaking. I got hate speech on freaking
you do
Facebook
that?
because I put a thing up.
Oh, okay.
I got hate speech on Facebook because I put a thing out about mythology and how men have always feared women. One of my friend who was a professor put that up, and we got pulled. So
Yeah.
she put an explanation up, and all it is about how men have like villainized women
Yeah.
as myths and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't. And that
So they
thing
got
does
me.
not put men in a good light.
So they got me on that one.
because it's accurate. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's the thing. She's a professor of Egyptology, and she got pulled. I got pulled.
I like that he had Darkseid in there, and then the black Superman suit and stuff like that.
No, there was-
and the
yeah.
mother box thing made a lot more sense.
Granny Goodness.
Yeah,
you saw Granny Goodness. I just wanted somebody to say, and what do you say, Granny Goodness? I just wanted to.
And
see
I have
that,
to
but
say,
it
you
wasn't.
know I'm going here. You know I'm going here. For all of you so-called comic experts who aren't.
Oh.
And Jim Starlin would tell you,
Yeah.
no, Darkseid is not ripped off from Thanos.
It's the other way
right.
In
around.
fact, Jim Starlin will freely admit that's where he got the Mad Titan from
Yeah,
Darkseid.
just like,
because I've heard that so many times. Well, people, he just ripped off Thanos. So it's like, oh, you know comics, huh?
Jack Kirby invented that shit way long time ago.
Oh no, Starlin admits it.
Yeah, and those days they copied each other all the time, and they copied themselves. Like
Right.
like Jim Starlin would make the same character in multiple thing. Just
I mean,
brought-
Aquaman, Submariner, okay.
Deadpool.
hold on.
I do
That's
admit,
right.
though, I want Emilia Clarke to play Mara.
Yeah.
I do want Emilia Clarke to play Mara. No bias. I just want Emilia Clarke to play Mara. I don't follow tabloid crap about that other stuff, but I think she's a better actress, anyways, too.
Well, there was some talk, I guess, on that the Snyder thing, but she's got an English accent, then an American accent, and stuff like that.
well, she had an English. She had
a Valerian
She was
accent.
supposed to have an English accent originally in Snyder's original version of the movie, but then they changed it because they were already working on Aquaman, where she
Right.
didn't.
Yeah.
But he put it back in because that's what he
Right.
originally had in his cut. Which is fine. I mean, that's, and also I think he was another thing to distance himself from the other DC,
Right.
DEC, whatever the hell.
EU.
But I mean, yeah, but like, I think it definitely told the story much better. It made a lot more sense. And it put Cyborg more front and center because he had almost had nothing. He was almost not in the
Right.
Whedon cut.
And
And his character's so important, and he's the one that people are the least. Most people are less familiar
know
with.
who he
He's
is.
got
Yeah.
the most sympathy.
Yeah, and
empathy.
his origin story is really crazy and sad, and you don't get that. Like, who's this guy, and where does he
And
come from?
sometimes,
For most people,
my
they don't
view, like I always say, one of the best director's cuts I've ever seen. Terry Gilliam asked the question, well, if that's the director's cut, who directed the other film? But
Right.
but the thing was,
studio.
Big
Suits.
Red one to me,
knows-
the
he knows
director's
that.
cut made the movie great. Big Red one, the director's
Yeah.
cut, because there was so much, and I think. Like I'm not one of those people who actually hated that Justice League movie. I got through it; it was a movie. I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it when I saw it.
But-
I
but
liked the.
I hated
thought-
the Russian family. It made no sense. to
I
me.
mean,
Yeah,
that's
that was-
gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was there's a lot of
And
stuff.
plus, I mean, Steppenwolf was like a video game villain. He wasn't given a
Right.
personality.
And I'll tell you, this is subtle, but if you look at the theatrical cut when Wonder Woman meets Cyborg, or when Diana meets Cyborg on the street, they show her and she's wearing these tight pants, and they do a back shot, and her butt's
Oh, yeah.
looking all good.
Yeah.
In this one, you don't see that.
Yeah,
I think that goes with a little bit of the Josh Whedon.
Yeah,
Sex-
well,
Yeah,
we know
I-
about Josh, supposedly, unfortunately, because I'm a Buffy fan, but we won't
Yeah.
go into that. But I've
Yeah,
heard
I
the
know that.
stories.
Yeah,
But now I admit I am
have lots of
setting
different
myself
opinions, but
up
I'm
for
not gonna-
disappointment because I don't like to do this, but I'm really looking forward to Robert Pattinson's Batman movie.
Yeah, me too.
Everything I've seen on that looks great.
It looks like it's going
Which means it's going to fall harder than if you go, well, I'm going to go into...
You know what? I am not going to buy into that.
No,
I'm not going to buy into that yet. But I understand. I get it.
But I do say right now, I've been starting to watch Harley Quinn, the cartoon.
Oh, that's really good.
Beyond, that's really funny.
I actually I watched Birds of Prey, and everybody thought
I liked it.
I thought it was
loved
pretty
Birds of Prey.
good.
I thought
it was
so
really
too.
good.
It did exactly.
Mary,
what it
I
was
like
supposed
Mary
to do.
Elizabeth.
Because she's crazy, so anything that's illogical makes sense.
but
Because she's
that's
out
the
of
point.
Yeah, and I loved how they were all very flawed. Like,
And I don't
all
think
of them.
people
I'm just
get-
like really messed up.
The egg sandwich. But the thing that got me is I tried to explain to people who were like, well, it was all messed up. You're going from the perspective of a sort of mentally damaged person's mind. And
Yes.
she's sort of telling the
She's an
story.
unreliable narrator. That's the whole point.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
people still struggle with that.
And it's a
I think there's
it's a wacky breakup story.
How,
you know?
like, in terms of doing comic book movies where we know this stuff, where you have the general public who might have, obviously, you're going to hear the big characters, but you don't really know. You sort of have to, like, we would look and go, okay, that's obvious. Or other
Yeah.
people are like, I don't really get that.
Well, that's the thing, like, and that's going to happen. It's it's like you can't make a whole movie just for the fans, but you also can't make a movie that
Right.
discounts stuff that just the fans would know. You have to make a movie that everyone that works on both levels, and it's not always easy, but it's
Right.
not too hard because all you got to do is throw a thing in, an Easter egg here, a reference
You know,
there.
I'll
right.
give
Or
you
go
an
by most
example.
people.
I'll give you a very early an example. I've been watching Buck Rogers in the 25th Century on MeTV.
Oh.
And but here's the thing about it. I've actually watched it now a little bit.
Yeah.
If you are a sci-fi fan, they throw in little nuggets all over the place. They have like Buster Crabbe.
Oh, yeah.
They have Mark Leonard. They have a Dr. Asimov. So if you're like one of these people growing up with Starlog in these
Right.
movies, you're like, that was for me.
Yeah.
Not that it was great, but
But yeah, for you had to think about when it was, when it was aired, who, what who's in charge, what they could get away with, and the fact that everything was.
And because it's the 70s, it has to have like Aaron Gray and their tight freaking outfits.
Yeah, which was, don't get me wrong, that was, a lot of us, coming of age in those days.
Make me
My
wanna be an
utility
astronaut.
belt went up.
but there were also, everybody.
I do that more now, like having been involved, like with all your theater stuff and writing and stuff, where I ask myself, okay, what does this scene mean? And like when you see you have the doctor who's like beautiful wearing a bikini, it's like, wow, what's that
Right,
for?
yeah.
Yeah, it's,
I wouldn't come out wearing Speedos in a doctor scene or something. You would, but
I don't know.
I don't know about that, but yeah,
But has anybody been following the CW?
I honestly haven't this year. This is the first
A
year
little
that I've
bit.
not really been following
I will
those.
say I like Supergirl. And Flash has been okay, but what I am sick of is a trope, and it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Twice it's happened on different shows. We have to go back in time to make things right.
Right.
That's
That's
a
lazy
Flash-
writing to me.
That's
That's
a
just-
Flash thing,
But it's
though.
happening.
You know,
It's happening. But it's,
everything.
now Legends of Tomorrow is different because they're going
well,
around
that's a time travel show.
Yeah. But I just get to the point where that's lazy writing.
Supergirl started
like-
to get a little complicated.
I
for
like
me.
it though. I actually
Supergirl's on its way out though. This is
last
the
season,
yeah.
but I like it so far. And I think Melissa
is good.
Benoit is like perfect for the role.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She would have made a good
she's-
Buffy. That's one of my things.
She would have. Yeah, she would have. That still could. I guess
She was actually
Maybe.
Miles Teller's girlfriend in Whiplash.
Oh, she was.
Oh,
Yeah, she was the one who worked at the theater.
She was in that Waco movie too, or that made for TV.
That
Waco.
the Waco.
She was one of the teachers. She was a teacher. or
The
something.
one for Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm going to give
I got
Stargirl.
opinions on that too, but
I'm
going
to
to
give Stargirl another chance. I
have yet to
I
watch
did
that.
not like the first season, but I'm going to give it another chance. I'm just going to try some more.
I started to watch
four
Swamp
episodes
Thing.
in and realized I wasn't paying attention
Swamp
to
Thing.
it.
Oh, I tried. I got through it.
I heard good things about Swamp Thing, but then that didn't get continued. But yeah, no.
No, it's not. But I think the guy who plays John Constantine's perfect in Legends.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Swamp
yeah,
Thing,
that's-
I made
yeah,
it
Matt Ryan
through,
does.
and it's not. As I went through it, I'm going, okay, this isn't
I
terrible.
watched 2
but-
episodes. It's like,
See, a couple.
Swamp
Days,
Thing?
yeah, it's
yeah.
but I'm going to jump around a little because talking about my dear Daenerys, this is not going to go where you think it's going to go.
I'm not saying
No,
nothing.
it's not going where you think. But I am not really like I like the
wouldn't be you if
Oscars.
you not said
Like the
nothing.
Oscars happened last week. I honestly have like Greg Smith would ask me, well, I have not seen any new stuff. It's like with all this stuff. I was going, well, my favorite movie was like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood lately, but I saw The Station Agent again, and Peter Dinklage, him in accents and as an actor, he's so freaking fantastic.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And that movie's great. I love stories like that are really almost about nothing, but about. And I could see like being some surly guy inheriting a train station, not wanting to be bothered. I could go with that.
Oh yeah. And
Barbie
everything-
Cannavale.
Oh, Bobby Cannavale. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
another
whatever.
guy. He's really good, and he's one of these guys that gets kind of typecast because of
He's
his
like, yo,
look and
man,
his
right.
yeah. But he's done he's done so much more. There was a show on HBO they did only one season. It's called Vinyl, which I really liked.
yeah.
It got panned a lot, but I don't know if you saw that or not.
About the music industry.
Yeah, it was about the music industry in the 70s. And the thing that they did about that was whenever they would have
I didn't
the
see it, but I
musical
heard about it.
performances would become part of the scene. Like
Yeah.
they would have somebody who looked like whichever artist they were doing, but
Yeah.
it could meld into the scene. It was a really cool conceit, but it just didn't go. And then he was leading another show on Showtime that only got one season called Roadies, which is also about.
I think he dates Rose Byrne. I think they
maybe, yeah.
But even I, Tanya, he was really good as that guy.
He's great.
And Blue Jasmine. I wish Woody wasn't like he supposedly is because I love his films. But Blue Jasmine,
I've never
you do or you
been a fan
don't.
of.
You do or you don't. That's the thing.
The really broad ones like Sleeper, everything you want to
the
know about
funny
sex. I'm
ones?
afraid to ask those ones, but all the new. I'm not a person that had any real reference point to those. It's all like the New York City intelligentsia crowd was, and that's fine. But I was just like, I
That's
don't
the
care
point.
about
Like,
these boring
we've
white
talked-
people.
Right.
We've talked about
Their
this
problems.
before. We've talked about this before. But in terms of like doing theater and doing music and
Yes.
like movies you've seen, like where you just go, they're portraying somebody with what I do totally wrong or anything.
yeah, and that's
Like
that
for me,
happens a lot.
Tusk for a podcaster. I'm not like that douchebag.
Well, that was the whole point, was they were really just lambasting their whole thing, and it all came from a podcast.
I
So
do admit I like at the end where he plays, we got the walrus and
that movie was exactly what it was supposed to be.
I liked it though. I
never
actually
saw
really
that.
enjoyed it.
It's just a goofy body horror.
It's like if we made a movie up.
Kevin Smith thing.
But I just liked it. And I liked Yoga Hosers. I thought it was dumb
I still
fun.
haven't seen Yoga Hosers.
I liked it. Take it for what it is.
Yeah.
I never saw Whiplash. I don't like to watch. For some reason, I don't like to watch drum movies because it's like I don't know. It's like, look, I've been doing this. It ain't. I never had a teacher
Drummers,
like that.
yeah, drummers are very critical of that movie, especially.
Well,
'Cause-
it's not. That doesn't seem like good teaching to me. I don't know. I don't really.
Number one, the
understand
guy,
that.
okay, maybe in the 1950s, now this guy would be on the news in jail, number one.
Yeah. Plus, and it really, I guess it really over exaggerated, things. But
Yeah.
And to me,
I
it's
like
like,
J.K. Simmons. So
oh, he's great
No, he's
in
great.
it.
He is good.
And I'm glad he's back as Jay Jonah.
Oh, I know.
He was Jay Jonah.
Yeah, he was, and I like that he looks like kind of an Alex Jones-esque character in that, which killed me.
Well, that's the thing. We usually don't, because like I thought about like having like Ken Nugent Jr. and some lefty guy on here. We'd have to have the masked drummer kick their asses out. But in terms of politics, I was thinking, what about like, because we're in this weird time these last years, what about like in terms of sci-fi and horror, would you see like some tropes or some ideas of how the future's going, like in terms, mostly negative?
I think people don't want to see anything about pandemics or viruses.
Right.
And I think people don't want to see movies that play on isolation and movies that play on like Zoom and things like that.
I agree.
But
yeah.
the funny thing is, the movies that came out in that year that have been shot the year before, there was a ton of movies about plagues and isolation and all this stuff. And they came out and just went.
So this is
Right.
too ironic to be real, but it happened. So we get closed down, right?
I see more stuff from the past that has come to fruition.
The Omega
now.
Man. But then, so I'm watching MeTV. Star Trek's on. So what episode of Star Trek has to be on Miri with the plague? When you like, it never ends. It never ends.
They did the remake of that show Utopia, the British show Utopia from like 5-6 years back, which is all about the government, creates like a super bug to control the population and this and that. And they put it out, and people are like, why? It's like, we did it last year.
Well,
we
like
gotta put it out.
my friend Mike Jankowski, we used to talk. Back in the day, you could have political discussions and not like get into like fights and cheer each other.
Yeah.
But he's talked about. We were trying to talk about he was convinced the movie that had it in terms of how we're screwed is Rollerball. Because he said multinationals were going to take over, and you can use the analogies, big tech's like 1984, multinationals all over the place. They're all, everything's owned by these, more and more bought up by these huge...
I mean, I see it with the phones and the technology where people aren't talking to each other when they're sitting next to each other. I mean, shit like that. And
Gatehouse. I was out, we were at the Gatehouse. We're talking, all of a sudden I get, and they're like, what? There's these people at the table. They're all texting on the phone with their heads down, across from each other.
Here's the thing. I'll throw this out there. What are the odds that 10 years ago these people still wouldn't be talking to each other? I think, and I agree that there are problems with that, but I think that
it's good for introverts.
Yeah, and I think that in like I don't agree that we are less connected with each other. I think we are connected with each other in different ways.
Yeah.
And that's not for good or bad or whatever. I'm not putting a judgment on it, but it's just like, and we demonize social media for very good reasons. There's a lot of bad stuff that happens, but there's a lot of good that has been done with it and continues to be.
The analogy,
just like anything else.
The analogy I've always
exactly.
used. I've used this analogy before, where it's an old Justice League of America cartoon. There's a monolith, and it's evil. All this power. Turns out the monolith isn't evil. It's just the bad guys got it, whoever uses it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think social media, a lot of people, like, for example, like from high school or old friends who you're friends with, but due to life, you got to find somebody to drop them a letter. You don't know their number. Now you can find each other.
Right.
Yeah.
On the opposite, I've had
that's
so many
good
people
stuff.
gotten stalked by weirdos because you can get the weirdos out
Right.
there.
Well,
I've had friends like
Yeah.
streaming shows and get people, can I see your feet and stuff?
The
on
money
there. They block it.
scams, the extortion, weird shit that.
I think that's stuff that I think as people in general become more savvy about that stuff, you'll see less and less of it being as much of a problem.
I mean, my rule of thumb.
That's what with cyberbullying too. I think I think it's horrible, but I think kids of the next generation are going to be are going to be able to brush it off easier by saying like, "And nobody gives a crap."
See, that's
There's
what
stuff happening on the
one
internet.
of my views, like
I
on
feel
social
it. I
media,
could be
because
wrong,
we had this election and all this crazy stuff these last years, and it got so heated. I know some people aren't even friends. And I'm going, who the hell cares what people say? You just don't, whatever. You have your opinion. It's nobody. It's not your life. You whatever. Don't take it, and I don't do that stuff
I'm not
anyways.
arguing about it. It's not worth it.
But the thing is, too, is I think I always tell people, like, online, if you don't know somebody, just watch. You don't know what the heck people are like.
You don't know if they're real. That's the thing that I tell people all the time when you get in a political discussion with a rando, and I've put this out on my thing.
Use a different phrase
with a person who could be anyone, or is that assume? I always say assume they're a bot. Just assume they're a bot.
Yeah.
There's a chance they're a bot.
I would do a couple,
That
though.
happens a lot.
Where like friends would put something, and I would put like the dumbest thing as a joke. But then I realized like they have friends who don't know me, so I'm getting all these comments like you need help.
Yeah, well, you get stuff on Instagram and things. Oh, hi, how you doing? Or if it's a girl, I'm like,
I've
know
got
what?
so
I'm
many
not here to hook
spam
up. Bye,
requests,
block.
and I don't want to be judgmental, but when the names of the freaking people sending me these friend requests sound like they could dance for the Isotopes.
Oh, no,
like
yeah,
Hootie McBoobs or something.
Yeah, I get tons of those. It's like, these models keep wanting to friend me on Facebook. Why do they only have one profile picture and nothing else?
That's a real Isotope dancer
They live in
name.
high
It's funny.
Or you get the one where, like, for example, I go on my rants about coffee. Go down my feed, it's all coffee company ads.
Yeah. That's the thing, and I'm just like, my whole thing was just like, I'll get ads for stuff that I'm into, but sometimes and sometimes they work because sometimes it will legit be something like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. So it does work sometimes, but it's for me, it's just easy to ignore. Just
I
like
do too.
I try to just limit my stuff to gigs and I get with people that I know.
I write stupid stuff basically,
or my stupid humor, or sense of humor, or whatever, And
everybody knows that. I hope, it's
Speaking of, have you ever seen the Birds of Prey show that was back in the early 2000s?
Yes, I saw it. I liked it. I liked it.
Because, they showed Batgirl in the costume. They had Joker flashbacks. And,
they met, they had was she like
she was paralyzed in the clock tower. They had it pretty.
Well,
Mia Sarah was Harley Quinn in the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that. Yeah, I saw a couple episodes, but I know that a lot of comic book fans liked it because it referenced stuff that not.
It wasn't bad for the time.
No, not for the time.
But I talked to hi Caitlin, love you. We were having this talk about movies, and I'm like, you seen anything? And she went on about the Mandalorian, which I always call the Mandalorian. We'll get to that.
I've never seen it.
But she told me Wonder Woman 1984 sucked.
It was.
And I think we talked one time. I'm actually talking on the phone these days, but we talked about it. I think the thing is for male directors, you can make pile of crap after pile of crap. Female director, you can make great stuff. You make one even mediocre thing.
You slip up once, and all of a sudden they're like, "See, Patty Jenkins isn't that good." I'm like, give me a break. If this is a male director, we would have just speed bump. That's it,
And I have not seen the movie, so I can't say if it sucks. And I've been put off from seeing because what I've heard.
Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, I haven't
Plus, the
seen
first movie I thought was really good.
Yeah, it's a.
And I like Kristen Wiig.
They have it's all good people in it, and their performances are just fine. It's just the story is really dumb.
Well, what's funny?
Is this a dumb story?
It sounds like, because I was listening to some guy on YouTube with that movie, and he was describing it, and he was talking about the plot, and I was doing stuff around the house while I was listening to it, and he's talking about all this stuff about how it's like something about redemption or this or that, and all these things, and as I'm listening to it, I'm going, this sounds fucked up. This doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it's about wishing and
it's like,
I wish it was over an hour ago.
I mean, I guess the mall scene is great.
I read something about
there's some
the mall
great
action scenes, but the whole time is like in the DC cinematic universe or whatever. There's this conceit that nobody knew who Wonder Woman was. Wonder Woman was not anything anybody knew about. Until Batman versus Superman and all that stuff, and just like so every time Wonder Woman is running around her costume, she just put her finger in front of her nose to the little kids, go, "Shh, you never saw me," and I'm like, okay, let's just pretend that. Don't worry about that.
There's actually, if you ever want to do comic research, James Marsters Moulton was like a sex perv who created her, and if you find like the early comics, you really look, he's got all this S&M imagery.
Oh yeah,
like,
it was
he's always whipping people.
Yeah, he's got the rope and
it was very blatant.
And he invented the lie
BDSM.
detector or something or other.
Yeah, he did. He's also real weird. There's actually a thing called Dr. Mars, whatever his name, in the Wonder Women.
Yes, it's on, I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. It's one of those.
It's all right, it's the. But one movie, I haven't seen. For me, it's spoiled. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. But it's WandaVision, and my friend Sammy. My friend Sammy said, and I said, look, I know exactly because I know Wanda's powers. I bet a lot of people don't get it, but I know exactly what's going to happen. I was right.
Yeah. Well, it also was a takeoff from a couple of different major storylines.
And then Jessica Jones.
But if you only saw the first episode, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But Jessica Jones, I really liked. And I know that's gone both ways in terms of some people.
Oh no, Jessica Jones was great. I
like the way it ended.
David Tennant was freaking great as like the Purple Man.
Yeah.
That's the thing now. I don't know if you're a huge doctor. I was actually going through who the best pure actor ever who's played the Doctor is, and I settled on Tennant. And I'm not, and this is not saying we didn't, they all have great credits and everything. But Tennant could play Hamlet, he could play a bad guy, he could play a good guy, he could play comedy.
I see that, yeah. I think you're probably.
Well, he was in that other British Broadchurch, wasn't he?
Broadchurch.
Yeah.
They did an American version of it too, but I can't.
Grace Falls or Grace Point or something. Yeah. I didn't watch it. But he could play so many different roles, and he's daring. He's not just the cutesy good guy. He can play comedy.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing, I think he's Phineas Fogg in Around the World in 80 Days.
he's played a bunch of.
He's
real
on
nasty killers
stage.
and stuff.
Played a serial killer. The Purple Man was a douche.
Yeah, the Purple Man was about as bad as you get. It was. Yeah, he's really. Yeah, he could be. I would definitely say like I've seen Capaldi in a bunch of stuff where he's
He's in the new Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, he's the brain dude. He's a thinker. I think he's a thinker. And I love how janky his brain apparatus looks. I have a feeling most of the really weird characters are going to be in the movie for about 5 minutes. I think a lot of them.
It's
are
like Bill Murray and the rest. How long are they going to be in Ghostbusters Afterlife or after whatever?
I don't know. That movie. They've kept the lid on that for a long time. I hope it's good.
I read a thing. Columbia picked up an option to do Green Hornet again.
Really?
Yep.
Have you ever read the Kevin Smith version? He did it in a graphic novel.
I haven't. No.
It's pretty good. He's got a daughter.
I wish they get it right once.
But Kevin Smith, what he said, well, the thing, okay, I'm not going to defend it, but that Seth Rogen movie, they didn't know whether to make it a comedy or serious. And that's the problem where they tried to have this guy.
He had too much to do with it.
Yeah, because they should have got some, and obviously, like, before I heard, like, Jet Li was going to star as Kato. And it's all about, but they didn't know whether to make it serious or not serious.
Well, the one thing I think they got right, what I liked about it, I think they took it too far, but I think if he was really just a rich, bratty kid, he would not know what the hell to do with a newspaper. So I think that part of it was kind of cool. Like,
and maybe the way like Kato goes
sandbox, but
and maybe the way Kato goes, well, you can't fight.
Yeah.
But he is.
I like the conceit of it. I thought it was a fun conceit.
What is he? The Christopher Waltz was good. That goes.
He's always good. He's amazing.
Wasn't he like the Lone Ranger's grandson or something? Cause
it's the and that's a source material thing.
The source material where you always have the minority assistant label.
That is a unfortunate trope.
Well, that's the thing I admit. Like, and I try to go in terms of stuff. You can't change history. You see stuff like I watch stuff like from the 70s, and you go, whatever.
What I always say is it explains it, but it doesn't excuse it. But it explains it.
Right. Even like some stuff in Sanford and Son, you wouldn't say those things.
Oh yeah.
But like when you watch, obviously, like us, we're huge serial fans,
right?
And like some of the villains in some of those serials, obviously,
there were always stand-ins for whatever group we were angry at the time for whatever
like
reason.
Pro wrestling in the day.
All that stuff.
But there's actually
Bugs Bunny cartoons.
There's a Silent Wizard of Oz where Oliver Hardy is the Cowardly Lion. So, okay, I think number one worst character ever is still Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
That was
but there is a character called G. How Black. It's a black guy in a watermelon patch.
Oh boy, yeah, that's probably a reason I never heard of that. And that's probably a lot of those Disney cartoons in the vault that
with the little aliens going around like the
that's all.
And I can't say I'm sure it's horrible, but I remember seeing Song of the South when I was a kid, and I've seen it so long I can't. I'm sure it's got but I have not.
Well, it was probably
remember.
there
When you're a kid too, you don't pay attention.
Here's our interpretation of what we want you to think is really there, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a look. This is all really nice. Everybody's having a good time.
Actually, did you ever see the Saturday Night Live one where they do Uncle Jemima's corn mash, and they got this guy. He's like drinking, and he's he goes and he's drinking. He sees birds flying around in Disney color and stuff. Oh yeah, we were all happy in the South.
The old genteel South. Where you were having a good time if you were a certain subset of humanity.
Well, this struck me as because being a student of history, you don't have to be a student of history. But I grew up with Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
So buck privates. You have all these guys merrily going off to war, all singing.
Yeah.
The war ends. They're all happy. Nobody's dead. Nobody's wounded.
Nobody got PTSD.
Everybody came back from World War II singing and dancing.
And there's this scene.
Kissing random ladies in the street.
It's harmless, but it's cringeworthy now. Where Lou's there's some 14-year-old girl who stows away on the ship, and they're talking about getting married and stuff. And I'm just sort of going, and, you got to take it as okay. They're not doing it as a.
No, but
I can't tell you how many.
I feel like even then that's probably a little bit.
I felt like I was like, I walk by a school, like I used to walk by a school at Shadow because I go by there. I just keep my head down.
Yeah.
And I'm not, but I know, because I know they've had, and this is like, not to be funny, but like with COVID, we haven't heard, but there always used to be, I'd be in the woods, cops would pull up, and I go, oh, you got another wacko at the playground, right? Keep an eye out for a guy with a hat, a red hat, which and going around playground and everything. So,
I mean, I can't tell you how many old movies I've seen where it's usually women saying it too, which is odd. But it's usually like, somebody's brother's trying to force her to make decisions or tell her who she can see or can't see, whatever. But she's always, I'm free, white, and I'm 21. That phrase is in more movies.
And there's
back
another
in the
one.
30s.
There's another one, Emergency. So I watch Emergency, and there's Johnny Gage. They have an uppity feminist journalist who's sticking her nose up at all the men there. And there's the one part where she's driving, DeSoto goes, they get cut off. He goes, it must be a woman driver. And at the end, what happens is she gets caught in the building, and they got to save her. And she's dating Johnny, and she's all sorry.
Well, look at the old Adam West series, man. Sexism runs rampant in that thing. The girls are all hot, and the one like the Mr. Freeze one, Eli Wallach, and she's got her she's in a bikini, and he's supposed to be like in this freezing box.
That's very impractical.
That was the only one person died that whole series. It was the Riddler's Mall who fell into the atomic battery.
Yeah, the first episode.
But I remember the one, that reminds me of the one line, I think Mr. Freeze's mall gets taken away. And I think Batman says, well, this was actually when she falls into the acid. Poor deluded child.
Yeah, what a way to go.
Oh, man.
He did it right, though. I still am a defender of that show. I love it.
That's great. Now that the more I watch it now, the more it was like, pretty
It's just
genius.
like watching Trek now on MeTV, and I own it, but they really redid all the stuff in terms of, it looks good.
It looks good.
They remastered those years ago. They redid the special effects those years ago. You can't even find, like, even when they do clips of Star Trek and stuff, that's always it's like Paramount went back and just made that stuff disappear, which is
you watch it, even MeTV, any of that stuff, the sound is really good, and it's like, I swear, nothing ever looked yet that good on broadcast TV.
No.
It was always...
No, like with Galileo, when they're blowing the stuff, they really digitize it and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my favorite line of all Star Trek still comes
though,
from the Next Generation Robin Hood episode where they get transformed, and Worf goes, Captain, I protest. I am not a merry man.
The long-suffering Worf is
in the underrated Deep Space Nine too. Then anyone?
I just rewatched all of Deep Space Nine, and that still is my favorite Star Trek series.
Has anybody watched Enterprise or Picard? Because I'm behind.
I've seen about half of Enterprise. Picard I really liked, but Picard is it's controversial. There's a lot of things that happen on that show that like diehard Trek fans.
Well, everybody seems to like the Mandalorian for the most part. It seems.
Yeah, I have zero problems with the Mandalorian. I think I feel, to me it's a perfect show. And
I think it's different too. That's the thing. There's not like some space battles. It's a guy. It's in that universe.
Yeah, it's a western. It really is a straight up space western.
I mean,
and I think that season 3 is going to be a big departure because it's becoming
and I know
part
who
of a
came on,
larger
obviously too. I know
yeah, but I don't think that's going to be a part of it. Really, I think a lot of people are thinking that this is going to butt up more against the movie saga, but I really don't think it is. I think there are aspects of the kind of side stories that are going to come more into play. It's what's butting up against into more than anything is the other Dave Filoni animated series, Clone Wars and Rebels, which are great. It's some of the best Star Wars ever done. To me, Rebels and Clone Wars are better than any of the films other than the original 3.
I don't know. Solo, a Star Wars story, still got me.
I like Solo a lot too, but I've probably for different reasons.
Sure, she'd have a lot of like a whole series. They should make the next 3 about her and everything.
Yeah, no, because she was just a great person.
In every way.
Yeah, she didn't screw over Han Solo and turn out to be kind of a bad guy. But yeah, no, okay, I get it. She was a real hero. Anyway.
No, but the other one, we're just talking a little current movies, and I'm way behind. I've heard enough about it. You've seen Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
It was about a monkey and a lizard.
It was fun.
So that's what I want.
It looked
I
too
just
Transformers to me, though.
I want Monkey Bash,
Yeah.
Lizard Bash, big mechanical thing Bash.
I can't explain, like, the Transformers movies for some, like, there's all this stuff going on, and it gets boring after about a minute.
Yeah.
But the Godzilla movies they've made recently, they don't bore me like other big
They're
weird
good.
action scenes.
No, they're very good.
And I don't know what it is.
And
It might
I've
just be
heard-
me.
and
I
I've
think they
also heard,
focus
like,
more on the causes of it and
Yeah.
what he's trying to.
Well,
he's got a heart, sort of. He's a
Yeah,
monster
and
with some kind of an agenda.
Yeah, and they're it's played almost to the point of being too serious, but it's just like you can, at the end of the day when giant monsters are fight, it's just like you can't. Yeah. That's just silly.
And Transformers. I just was never into them as a kid. I just never. I'm like somebody I had a Shogun Warrior at the time. I just don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we had Shogun Warriors. They must have been cheaper than anything else because
Yeah.
I had a bunch of them.
And you would fire little plastic rockets.
Yeah, I had a bunch
I think
of
there were
them.
3 of them or whatever.
Yeah, and these were all based. These are all based on like Japanese cartoons. Like if you look more in the history of the toy stuff, you learn a lot about how these Japanese cartoon characters bumped up against America and. The story of the Japanese Spider-Man is probably
I've seen
the
some clips
craziest
too.
thing.
Be warned though,
Spider-Man.
the little girl who was the girl in Manos Stand of Fate wrote a book about the movie.
Oh yeah, there's been
And
a
there's
lot
a
of
Manos video game that's been out.
yeah. There's somebody did like a sequel but it's just it's I guess it's another one of those stories about somebody wanted to make a movie, and it's a bananas movie, and there's a lot of lore around it, which
I buy cheap action figures.
Yeah.
I found a Black Panther at Aldi's for like $5.
I had a lot of GoBots. I remember that. I had more GoBots than I had Transformers. I'll tell you that right now.
Walmart used to have them too, like in the back or FYI. If you went in the back, sometimes you knew when to get them. We used to have the action figure part of the comic book crowd at Empire.
The clearance rack at FYE was the best place to go.
Yes, that was great. But we
Or
had the
Media
one
Play.
guy, he would come into the comic book store every, maybe say 4 times a year, and he'd buy a couple grand in action figures. He'd just grab them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they were good. I mean, I'd want to, because I thought if I started throwing money at these, I'm going to go broke, because I would be like,
well, you also kind of have to have an idea what you're looking for too, because 1 out of 5 of those might be worth anything.
or you get it because you like it too.
To me,
there
I
was
was
one
just like,
guy
I
who
got
just
something I
collected
like.
Punisher. He got like a platinum Punisher comic from Japan. He got like his car was decked out at his. I have a friend. All he does is Flash. He's just a big Flash person.
Yeah, I had a Punisher shirt when I was in high school. I would not have one now.
I have a
Unfortunately.
wool hat.
But you know what? It's just what he is. He was basically I don't know the order. I know Jerry Conway. He was Paul Kersey from Death Wish basically when it came out.
Yeah, it's how the symbol was co-opted.
Oh, I have no
political
idea about
reasons.
that.
Oh yeah,
so.
no, it's very much. And the Punisher commented on it. The character did it in the comic book. Because these, really super violent cops were going around with his, Punisher skulls. And he was like, "Do you even understand? I'm a criminal. You shouldn't be doing this. I'm doing this." Basically saying, "I'm doing this because I'm crazy. You're not supposed to be this way. You're supposed to be better than me."
You know what I see a lot of now? It's mainly because the people that come into my store or Goodman Street. It's inner city thing, but I see tons of Nickelodeon shirts. And Rugrats.
Yeah, Rugrats. I think Rugrats was
honest to God.
a really big was a really big touchstone for kids raised in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
I've seen a few Ren and Stimpies, but mostly Nickelodeon.
Mostly because that was a show that was made for kids that
SpongeBob
was funny for.
One kid comes in, he's got, what's that, Rick and Morty? He's got that shirt.
Rick
and
Morty,
one with the beaver that was sort of like on edge.
The angry beavers.
Angry beaver dude.
I think Rick and Morty's on the verge of jumping the shark at this point.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. That's why I like more and more limited stuff. But
Solar Opposites is really good, though. I don't know if you've seen that. That's
seen
the other Justin Roiland cartoon.
But see, in terms of for an intro episode that came after, we actually have stuff to talk about. But hopefully we keep, because you never know, I'm hoping things get better. And we're going to do some Zoom stuff and have lots of guests and everything. And Greg will be here when he can. He's not working or...
I'm usually here.
Yeah, usually here. And Patrick, you'll be here unless the topic's boring or whatever else, and we'll work on Zoom stuff. But you are doing your own
guy
stuff,
for boring.
too.
Yeah, I will plug my podcast here.
And by the way, before that, D&D, Tommy's in, Frank's in. We were looking for maybe fall. We got to see how things go, everything else.
I got stuff. The visual element is going to be fun, hopefully, if I can make it well work.
And you can explain it, and I think you told Greg before for the audience, too. It's like you were telling a story of little...
Yeah, it's
Architects of Entropy.
Architects of Entropy is a podcast that is my podcast. It's a actual play tabletop role playing podcast. We play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's in a world that myself and my players have all created. So behind the scenes of the world is not just me coming up with everything, it's all four of us coming up with everything and then me throwing stories into that. So it's a constantly evolving kind of thing. The first arc of the series is about to wrap up relatively soon. So by about episode 25 or 26 should be a good jumping on point.
I was going to ask, how's somebody who's coming on there? Are they going to know where?
Yeah, I'll make a note of that too. When the new arc starts, it'll be a good point to jump on because our characters will be going into different places. The whole first arc of the series takes place in a big city, and then they're going to leave that city and go on to other adventures. They're going to be a little more self-contained, smaller arcs. They should be. Where we've established kind of what what a big problem in this world is, and our characters will jump around to different parts of the world and see all the crazy things that they've created. And then the idea is once we tell the story of this first world, we'll make another world and another setting and probably another game system, another type of genre, and probably even a couple different people. So the idea is to eventually have these rotating games that take place in these worlds that we all create ourselves.
Wow. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, so we the episodes release every 2 weeks. And it's called Architects of Entropy. And it's available on pretty much all the podcatchers out there. Go ahead and get caught up on the series. It's not a huge backlog because we do it bi-weekly. You only have to catch up on 20 or so episodes at this point. By the time this is out,
it's not like trying to go through 20. Law and Order or Stargate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you had plenty of time during
26
lockdown.
episodes a year. So
that's what I did during lockdown. Was I went through lots of series as I had time. So
yeah,
but cool. We'll see how we're going to try to Zoom. We have a lot of friends who don't live around here, and hopefully, and I understand myself. Just to let you know, we're very careful here at the studio.
Oh yeah,
we've gotten jabs and nothing nefarious has happened.
No, I've been fine. I've got I'm all
my arm
all
hurts.
That's
all.
Weeks ago. So
I still like pie.
Yeah.
I
still like coffee.
What if all of a sudden you didn't like pie?
I know. Well,
that would be a real story.
Well, the first time I got the shot or the first shot. I had to do a rehearsal with Susie. And, I didn't say anything. I said, I feel okay. And, they tell you to move around. So I was playing drums, which is moving around.
We get a lot of moving around.
Yeah. So everything was fine. Then I started to walk out. We were done. And I walked out and I started doing these spazzing movements. Like all of a sudden the shot was getting to me or something. And she goes, what's the matter? What's the matter? Yeah. I'm like, I'm kidding.
The worst. This is not funny.
In front of Susie, huh?
But this is wise ass college kids. It's not funny, but I'll tell it anyways. We went to Washington D.C. There's a field trip. This was way back when, right? So, my friend, we ordered a Diet Coke, right? So they gave him a regular. So his smart ass there goes, I'm going to pretend I'm a diabetic, and he pretended to have a fit.
Oh, God.
It's not funny.
Funny.
I didn't think it was not funny at all. But in the day, and that would be a dumb movie or something. It's like watching Dazed and Confused, and I'm going, I miss those days of just being out. I don't miss those creepy guys like Watterson that would hang around.
That is.
That's another thing these days. Well, high school girls, I love them.
Yeah. By the way, and that character was supposed to be creepy.
But the thing about him, there's always those guys. I don't know the guy's name, but when I was in high school, some dude came around. He wore the Letterman jacket, and hang around campus and act like he still went there, and the guy had to be like that. But yeah, Wooderson's supposed to be creepy. He's like, I tried to figure his age out for them, not McConaughey's, but the character. When they said he was 3 when we graduated when we were 3, the guy's probably around 30.
Yeah.
And he's horn dogging on
and it's
these freaking high school girls and stuff.
It's gross and sad.
But that's the one thing I'll sort of end this
with
in terms of high school movies. They all have to reflect people we knew, I think, to work. That's all.
Yeah.
And I knew, like, you could point out, I didn't know a Waterson, but I knew that guy who would have been the Waterson who hung around the school.
Yeah. No, but Linklater, I mean, that's like Linklater's whole thing was just to kind of, look, I'm going to show you these things. I'm not putting any judgment on them.
And you know what? Like, a lot of the guys are basically nice guys. And I didn't recognize Affleck as that douche O'Banion until I saw him. But then,
his early roles are just all, like, just sad.
But then, like, and all, like, they're all pretty nice guys, too. Like, they do, I would never do any of that, like, hazing crap. But they take him out. They're nice to him after.
Yeah,
I would have gone in hiding for the summers to get my butt paddled and stuff. And I wouldn't do that to anybody.
He also had characters that weren't all one thing. It's just like the high school bully's always he's just evil. I'm like, no, not necessarily.
No, like Donnie throws him a beer. But the only one was like Parker Posey was a character. But that's Parker Posey.
She's good at that. She was good at that. She's really just get on you.
Yeah, but that's what she plays though.
Yeah.
But we are back now, and hopefully we'll go until this. We supposedly are going to be down at the Planetarium, Screamfest. Hopefully we're going to have people from, spoilers, I hope I'm finally going to have some friends from the RPO. Julia wants to come back. You guys will be back.
Yay.
Yeah, we'll be back.
And now we have, a week ago, my friend Greg Stackhouse Prevost released his new CD, Songs for These Times. And he tried to go through all kinds of songs. And we actually had a signing at the House of Guitar last week. I was in Susie's area and everything. Oh. And it worked basically just good to see people. People were coming up to me like, I haven't seen you for a year. Steve Lyons was there. Armin was there.
Why the hell? I didn't even hear about this. Oh, well. It doesn't matter.
You don't follow my posts. No, it was more to talk to your friends and stuff and hang out. Mike Murray came down.
Find out about this stuff after it's happened.
Yeah.
Well, I knew we were going to go on afterwards, so I'm not going to. So this is, but I told Greg, so Greg being Greg, it's like, so Greg just being Greg. Yeah, you can get I got the white album, and not to I don't care about collector, but I got the white one. You can just go to Pennyman Records, go to Greg's site.
Yeah.
They're on sale at the House of Guitars now. Alex Patrick plays guitar on it.
I got his first one, that Mississippi one.
This is the third. There's another one between that, I think. But he's so he helps me out a lot. He's like, play whatever you want. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, Armin's been playing some of our stuff and they're playing. His thing.
That's excellent. I'm going to play the last song here. I think this fits for these fun times. Acid Rain Falling.
Nice.
By Greg Stackhouse Prevost. And check it out. This is great. I like all the stuff, but this one's really, I think, even. It's for all taste and style. And I still he does a cover of Splash #1 by Rocky Erickson, which is why we're not playing it. And I always call that song Dust. So thanks a lot, guys. Patrick, Greg, I'll see you guys soon. We'll have fun.
Absolutely.
Adios. I'm glad to be back.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Can't see tomorrow, there's no light ahead. I can't see tomorrow.